Is Marvel Snap getting more expensive? Well, we're going to break down some facts on what's changed in the economy since 2024. And you know what? I think actually a lot has changed slowly, perhaps. But I really thought we were in a great place at the end of 2023. At the time, it was a standard to have one Series 4 card per month being released, and the rest were going to be Series 5. That was all right. There was also only one new card per week, and there was also gold bundles available on a regular basis. And, well, there wasn't series drops, but at the end of 2023 in December, they announced that there would be another series drop in January. But they'd be intermittent. It would be a little bit more sporadic, you know? It maybe like twice a year, 3 times a year, who knows? But it didn't really matter because I felt like at that point in time, we had achieved a stable state in the economy for Marvel Snap. And since 2024, I've noticed a lot of trends. And I feel like we've taken many steps back, which is why I'm making this video. And I've done it a couple times in the last year or so whenever I thought the economy got into a bit of a rough shape. And I want to give some pros and some cons. I think there's actually been some steps forward, but just like every time, there seems to be steps forward, followed by a few steps back. So we're going to go back and forth about those on a few topics here. And I want to start with the series drops because, in my opinion, everything I'm about to talk about in this video, a lot of it's going to be about the cosmetics. We're going to talk about the bundles that just came out today and how there's all cash bundles and they're expensive. We're going to talk about a lot of that stuff, but I think I can get past that. What does irritate me is the change up in the series releases, mostly because Team Secondary, since the Spotlight Cash system has been released, they have mixed in Series 4 releases. And Series 4 isn't even that cheap. It's 3,000 tokens, and tokens are not easy to come by. But that was okay because you have the Spotlight Caches, and they really wanted to emphasize using those. So, all right, that sounds great. Now, you had one Series 4 coming out just about every month, at least one. There was a few months where there was 2 coming out per month. They were experimenting. But now, look at this. In 2024, there has been one Series 4 release and 15 Series 5 released cards. And back-to-back seasons were straight up Series 5 releases. That is February and March. And according to data mines, the next 2 months are going to be the same thing. So my understanding is that Series 4 releases are void. They're a thing of the past. They're not happening moving forward. Unless, and you can bookmark me on this one, the card ends up being super weak or it's not very fun. And they like just some kind of filler card that they got to throw out there. I could see them making that Series 4. But basically everything else seems like it's going to be a Series 5 release. Now, a few reasons why they might have made that shift. Well, I think Team Secondary doesn't want people to be using tokens to acquire cards. They want to do the Spotlight Cash routine and then have tokens be your backup for that card that you dismissed and you accumulated X amount of tokens and you end up using them, which, okay, fair. And then also, they probably want to incorporate more ways to acquiring Spotlight Caches. And they have. And we're going to talk about those, which has kind of alleviated some of the pain points. But I think it's just so much more exciting when you know there's a card that you can afford, when there's a card coming out that's only going to cost you 3,000 tokens, a little bit more achievable. And then also for the longer term, because if we could acquire more of these Series 5 cards, we end up with a bigger Series 5 pool. And they're not really dropping all that fast. So it's going to be a really long time before you can get that card. And then you're hoping that it's going to be in a Spotlight Cache in the future. And we have no information or data mine content or anything like that that's going to indicate that it will eventually be out in the future, which creates FOMO and all kinds of bad feelings if you do not pick up the card. And we're not even getting into when a card is buffed or nerfed shortly after its release, after its Spotlight Cache week has expired. So there are flaws. And it becomes a lot more obvious, a lot more painful when you do not have Series 4 releases, when it's all Series 5, the most expensive price tag in this game. And then series drops return. So that's the W, right? Series drops are back. They happened once in January. That's fantastic. It's actually, we cannot belittle this. 14 cards were dropped. They might not have been the most exciting, but 14 cards dropped in series. That was incredible. That was one of the best moments I feel like I saw in the last year for the economy. It was fantastic. And I really hope that continues. Like I said, 2 times a year, 3 times a year, anything, I'll take it. It'd be fantastic. But we have more Series 5 cards. Series 5, Series 5, Series 5. And man, I know maybe you're looking at my tokens, you're like, Drew, you got 8,000 tokens. Man, if I spend that 8,000 tokens, if I get Pixie right here, I'm down to 2 grand. I'm not getting a new card for at least a month. I'm not acquiring those tokens for at least a month because I'm not getting bundles. They're all cash bundles nowadays. Let's talk about the bundles real quick. So we might be in a rough patch where there's just happens to be not a lot of gold bundles and they're set to return shortly. Very well could happen. And you know what? This whole entire video could be void by the next patch because they announced some new economic feature or some way of alleviating some of these pain points. And that'd be fantastic. But as of right now, of course, this is the situation we're in. And as you can see, there's this crazy bundle right here. Yes, I'm in Canadian dollars, so the currency is a little bit different. It's going to be regional. So it might be less for you, might be more. That's just like globalization for mobile games. That's not on Second Dinner, is my understanding. But with the bundles, this is a crazy price tag. This is just insane. $140. I could buy 2 full games that could give me like 70 hours of content each for this bundle price. And this is a variant of a Series 1 or 2 card. That matters, right? Because some people might get the bundles because they can get a new card that's Series 4 or 5. No, this is like Shang-Chi. You get them right away. And then, yeah, credits, gold, collector's tokens, spotlight key. But if I put all of this together, I might be able to get 2 cards. And that is not $140 worth in my mind. It is just wild. Okay. Cash bundle. Let's look at something else. Sentinel bundle. Okay. Decent currencies, I suppose. You got a very cool variant. My goodness, it's so good. Cash bundle. And then you got this one. Man. So this is both good and a little bit funny. Okay, so personalized bundles is something they're experimenting with. And I think that's a very good thing. So they're going to look at what your purchase history is and what you'd like to spend your money on and showcase you bundles that are equivalent in value that you might be interested in. And I think that's actually pretty great. And they're actually also going to be doing that for the shop. So variants that you like to purchase are going to show up more often. I don't know if they've implemented that just yet, but that will be coming. I think that's actually pretty great. But what's funny here is I haven't bought a cash bundle in quite a long time. And then they're showing me this expensive one, $70 for 6,000 gold. Now I got to say something here, okay? A lot of people are way too caught up in the way the Marvel Snap economy functions, okay? What I mean is that you see this, okay? You see 6,000 gold, $70. We scroll down to the gold, right? Look at these bonus things that never even cashed in on. Whatever 6,000 gold was, right? 8,000 gold is the closest equivalent. It's $140. Drew, you're saving like $50, $40, whatever it is. If you get that bundle, that's great value. No, that's like almost brainwashing to think that that's good value, right? Because when I really look at this card, what am I using that gold on? I'm getting a few variants. Maybe I get 3,000 tokens out of it total. Maybe. let's even give it the benefit of the doubt that this ends up accumulating to 6,000 tokens. That is one Marvel Snap card for $70. No, thank you. That's just far too expensive. like let's not kid ourselves. It's crazy. And again, here's a really important note as well. You do you with your money. That is not the point of this. I'm just talking about my personal experience, how I perceive these bundles and how much money they are. And you know what? Once again, like I said at the start of this video, a lot of this is going to be about cosmetics, and I honestly don't really care. They can price their bundles however they want because people are going to buy them, and it's going to fund this game, and I think that's fantastic. Again, me personally, this is a no-go for me, but I don't hate it. I don't mind that these are all here, but it's a factor, and it's actually diluting the value of gold. When you have bundles that cost money, it gives you gold. What can you use your gold on? Well, there are variants. Variants can eventually get you tokens. That's pretty much it. Like, I don't even know what else. Like, you would like speed up some processes, like your conquest tickets or credits, perhaps. But yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, gold loses a little bit of value when you can't use it on high value bundles. Now, something really important. Team Second Dinner needs to make money, everybody. They are a business. They have employees. These bundles alone, these new cards that they keep putting out week over week over week, cost a lot of resources. Not just the visual effects team, but the balance team, the art team, right? They got to put together all those variants. Somebody's got to organize the spotlight cache. There is a lot of work that goes into every single week a new card comes out. That is a high pressure release schedule, and they got to make money. They got to pay those people. They got to make good money too. They can't just get by on minimum wage. We got to pay them what they're worth. So of course they gotta find ways to break even. They gotta find ways to make money. And if this is going to be it, you know what? I'm fine with it. The series releases is what I would like to see changed. Just about everything else I think is fine, but I do want to raise it as an issue because I know a lot of people are upset about it. Okay, so I don't just want to gloss over it. So gold bundles, where'd you go? Would love to see you back. But personalized bundles is pretty cool. It just missed the mark for me on this one. Another thing is that when you look at like the Sentinel one versus the Magneto, the currencies are lesser for this, but you get a card back. I guess they're just valuing card backs more. It's kind of odd though. Same price tag. Anyways, the other thing is the new cards per month, because we are getting one extra card per month, and I want to talk about it. So ultimately, I think that new cards, having more of them, is a bonus. I think it's great. It's a lot more fun because it shakes up the meta. It's a new toy to play around with if you can afford it. And there's more content for not just, when I say that, not just for us YouTubers or Twitch or anybody like that, but also I think just for folks to engage with, whether that is through those mediums, those media channels, or through their own gameplay experiences. So that is amazing. I love that. Okay. But where I start to have a bit of a problem is when we increase the amount of cards being released per month. We do not decrease their cost. In fact, we almost in a roundabout way keep their costs higher. We end up with a more expensive game to have a full collection. That has never been the goal of Marvel Snap, right? Team Second Dinner does not want everybody to have a full collection, and fair enough. People who throw money at this game will find a way to have a full collection, but otherwise, they don't want a full collection, fine. Okay. But I don't think many people were getting a full collection before, and they certainly are not now, because on a busy month, that is 6 new cards. That's going to happen 4 times a year. And then the rest of the months of the year, you're going to have 5 new cards. So it ends up being a lot more expensive. It doubles down on those fear of missing out feelings, even if the card isn't all that exciting. Now, us YouTubers don't do a good job of that either. You know, trying to get engagement through views and such, you end up trying to overhype or make cards exciting as possible, and then they die out over the next week. Hate the game, not the player, right? But then there's the series gap, right? So somebody who's who's a new player, like Series 2, Series 3, man, what a hill to climb. I couldn't imagine. I feel fortunate that I started in beta and I can just like be up and current with the new cards. If I was, just starting, it just seems like way too tough of a hill to climb to actually get to like a reasonable collection with everybody else, or at least too much of a time investment. So I feel like there are some problems that lie in there, but new cards are fun. It's just getting more and more and more expensive, and this is going to just snowball. If series drops are not frequent enough and you do not have Series 4 releases, this is going to snowball, and we got to watch out. So there was a new feature dropped, and that was albums. And I think this has had a mixed reception. I will tell you right now, I actually think this has been great. I like it a lot. It has a few issues. That being, I'm going to get them right out of the way, 1,200 gold only albums. So for instance, the Hellfire one, right? When those variants all were released, all of them were 1,200 gold a piece. And then you needed 12 of them to complete the album. That's expensive. That's going to take you a very long time. That's going to cost a lot of gold. Another thing is that there was an ultimate variant. So as you can see, not actually this one. Let's look at the Artgerm one here. So with the Artgerm album, there was a Jane Foster the Mighty Thor variant, and that is an ultimate variant that costs 5,000 tokens. So then all these other variants are, a lot of them are 1,200 gold. It ends up being a very expensive album. So it's difficult to complete. That, ruffled a few feathers. Also, that was how emotes were introduced and everybody was excited about those. And then it seemed like you can't actually get any of the emotes because it takes too long, takes too much resources, etc. That's the bad side. But you know what? I think it's actually all totally fine because I think it's really cool. If somebody has this storm emote, that is quite the accolade. I mean, you invested a lot of your personal resources to acquire that emote, and it's a big flex. I think it's pretty neat. And you're going to know you're one of very few to actually have that emote, which I thought was cool. And then also, they're, just as of this new season, they're putting emotes in the season pass. And I think that's great. That's a new way to acquire those. And I'm sure there's going to be much more. I could see it being like a conquest reward. Maybe there's some new game mode. They're going to have a whole bunch of ways for us to get those. So I think it's fine. You know what? I think it's okay. Yes, there's more expensive albums than others, but it's cosmetic at the end of the day, right? And I actually enjoy the slow roll of acquiring a variant. Maybe it's one I'm not a fond of, but it does help my progress towards an album. It's a little extra added bonus of opening up that variant. And on top of that, you get a lot of resources through these albums. I think it's the second and third row is just always guaranteed to be some sort of economic resource, like spotlight, key here, or tokens or credits. And it's not a short amount. It's like 2,000 tokens at a time, which is pretty significant. So if they keep releasing these, it's essentially another way for us to acquire resources while, just collecting, which is really what Marvel Snap is all about. It's collecting. So yeah, I think the albums are just fine, but I wanted to cover that because that was new in 2024 as well. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about the economy. If you're fine with it, I think that's great. Honestly, I'm not here to really bum people out. A lot of people get so quick to just say, oh, well, I'm time to quit the game because it's expensive and stuff like that. Man, you can still play this game without spending money. I play this game every single day, but I don't play a whole lot of matches. I complete my dailies. I have a good time doing it all, and I haven't really been spending money. I've been buying the season pass. I almost wish they would incentivize me to spend more of my money because that means they're doing something right. But I feel like we've taken steps back where it's just gotten frustrated. And now I just don't want to spend money. And I'm just going to be kind of stubborn and not really open up new cards because it's not like the end of the world if you don't get the new card. You just kind of wait for that one that you're really excited for. It's just hard to pick. So anyways, that's what I wanted to talk with you all about today. I hope it was helpful in some way or fashion. I would love to hear what you guys think about the economy, if I'm blowing it out of the water or not. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.